Hi friends, your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and how the Dungeons and Dragons community can get young people to the Dungeons and Dragons table, because it is not going to be easy. All right, and we're also going to talk about this problem through the lens of the 2025 Harry Potter HP 25 mega release of all 8 movies in the year 2025 on the big screen, all over the country for an entire month. And so we're going to talk about these two things together because I believe that the brand new, actually the 25th anniversary release of the Harry Potter films on the big screen is actually actually contains the secret to getting young people to play Dungeons and Dragons if we pay attention and do what needs to be done as the D&D community. All right, here we go. Okay, so 2024 core rulebooks releases. Okay, it didn't make $1 billion. It didn't, right? Like, young people didn't flock to it and buy it, right? Like, but Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate 3, that made $1 billion. A lot of young people bought it, right? And it had buy-in, right? So Dungeons and Dragons is a Dungeons and Dragons real, not video game. Dungeons and Dragons at the table, Dungeons and Dragons PHB, DMG, MM. How do we get young people to literally buy in and figuratively buy in, right? It's tough, and it's going to be extremely difficult. And the reason why it's going to be extremely difficult is video games, is 9 streaming services with 1,000 shows on every single day, is Barnes and Noble with shelves of incredibly compelling anime, shelves of incredibly compelling books that are better than ever been written, right? Their world is filled with so many competitors to Dungeons & Dragons. It's going to be very, very hard. Okay, but I got the secret. Here we go. All right. So, Harry Potter 25 mega release. This thing is huge. So 25 years after the first Harry Potter film came out in 2000, we are getting a release from Warner Brothers. This release happened in all over the country. And it happened in my suburban Philadelphia area, and they put all 8 of the Harry Potter movies back up on the big screen. I was extremely excited about this. I got cut off from and it was out for the entire month of August, from like August 1st all the way up to the last day of August. Okay, and I got cut off from seeing the first 2 weeks, so I wasn't able to see 1, 2, 3, or 4. But then, just from obligations I had for August. But then, at the second half of August, I was freed up and I was able to, go, right? First of all, I was able to go see these for free. One of the nice things, well, yeah, I have a Regal Movie Pass, and it is fantastic. I cannot recommend. Honestly, this is my take. If you don't have a movie pass, you should not be going to the movies anymore. It's outrageously expensive. If you have any interest in movies, you should be going to the movies all the time, because the movie passes are outrageously affordable. Okay, so well, I mean, I guess if you're wealthy and you got cheddar like that, and you don't care, like $18 is like as much as a candy bar is to me, fine, just go to the movies. But I don't understand how people go to the movies without movie pass. I also don't understand why everybody in America does not have a movie pass. Like, it's such an unbelievable deal. All right, so get this. So here's where we land, right? So these Harry Potter movies come out, and at the second half of August, I was unleashed and I was able to go see them. But at this point, only 5, 6, 7A, and 7B are out. The last 4 movies, right? But that's totally okay. I've seen the entire series. I think it's either 3 or 4, right? I've seen all 8 movies 3 times on streaming, and I watched them all when they came out in movies. So I've seen them 4 times back to back, right? So it was no problem for me to jump in on 5, okay? So I go to Harry Potter 5, Order of the Phoenix, right? Go to Harry Potter 6, the the Half-Blood Prince. And then last day of August, I get to the last day of August, and actually it was the second last day of August, sorry. And I could see 7A and 7B on the same day, right? So I go, and this is gonna be like I literally showed up at 6:30, and it was 5.5 hours long, right? Like to see both of these back to back, right? That was a big thing, like I had to plan it, right? So I go to this thing, I see 7A, and it's fantastic. Then I get to 7B, okay? The seats are changed, right? Because you buy your tickets for each one individually. And I go in, and the credits, and the trailers are over, and the movie starts, and it's real dark, and you see the Warner Brothers symbol come up. And it's the gray and stormy, and I realize there's 3 Gen Zs in front of me. They're either like junior or senior high school, maybe freshman college, right? So these Gen Zs are in front of me. And I'm like, oh man. Now how do I know that? Well, it's literally the first scene of the movie whip out their phones, right? And so they're in front of me, they're whipping out their phones, and they are recording the screen, of course, in profile, right? Almost certainly going straight up to Instagram or Snap Talk or whatever these Gen Zs use, right? And I'm like, ugh, it's a sigh, right? And so then I'm like, what? And so in my head I'm like, oh, this is not good, right? Right? So then the movie just starts rolling, and they do this about 3 or 4 times before the movie's over, okay? And so I got these Gen Zs in front of me. They're whipping out their phones. And you know what? It totally made the movie for me. I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled, right? Now, first of all, these people, these Gen Zs, right? They are breaking the most sacred rules of the movie theater. You're not supposed to whip your phone out, okay? 2, I think it's literally against the law to tape a movie. Like, you can't do that. Now, these guys didn't have their phone up. They weren't making like a, some bootleg copy. They were just, sending a minute, 2 minutes up to Instagram, or they were screenshotting whenever they were, whatever Snap Talk they were doing. So they were, but this is literally, you are not only breaking the most sacred etiquette of the movie theater, you are literally breaking the law, right? I would have had every right to go to the manager and go, get these guys out of here, right? But I was thrilled they were there. Why? Not a single one of these people was even alive when these movies started showing, right? This was Gen Zs, like junior, senior high school, maybe freshman college, and it was really, I was thrilled to have them there, because I absolutely love Harry Potter. Like, it is one of the most wonderful joys of my life. I was fortunate enough to be here during every book. I came in late. The book came out, and the book was out for a year, and I was just like a lot of people. At the very, very beginning, people were like, yo, you got to read this book. And everybody's like, some, magical kid in a magical school? I ain't reading that crap. And I did the same thing. But man, I was like, wait, why is the New York Times writing about this? And finally I was like, okay, I got to write this. And I fell in this thing like a hole. It was so good. And then I was incredibly blessed. And we actually, starting on book 2, I actually think the midnight book releases started with book 3, right? But, I was at the bookstore, day 1, buying my book for book 2. And that was just a regular, run into the bookstore on the day of and buy it in the sunlight. At book 3, every single book release was an event. It was like a midnight. You would go to Barnes & Noble, and there would be hundreds of people there. Hundreds. Like 200-300 people at midnight buying books. I never saw anything like it in my life, right? And I am just so thrilled that these Gen Zs are excited about Harry Potter. It is fantastic. Snap Talk it up. Take your phones. Do your thing. right? Break the most sacred tenet of the movie theater. Just whip your phone out. Break the U.S. law, as long as you are there, right? And get this. This is what really got me, right? I actually judged them at the beginning. I was like, how dare these Gen Zs whip out their phones? You know what made me make this video? At the end of the movie, okay? This is in August 2025. This is a group of 30 people, right? Sitting in a theater that sat 120, right? 30 people watching a movie that is streaming on Peacock right now, right? When that thing ended, those 3 Gen Zs in front of me started clapping. I could not believe it. And nobody else in the theater clapped, and I immediately began clapping with them. And then other people in the movie clapped. We have got to break every rule of Dungeons and Dragons to get these guys. The biggest one is you don't have to read the dungeon. You don't have to read any of the rule books. I really feel like, I don't know how we get that done. I have ideas, right? Like you could put, you could say, hey, every single chapter of the DMG, the PHB, and the Monster Manual is condensed to a 10-minute YouTube video. Or even a 1-minute, like every chapter of every book is a 1-minute TikTok. You're like, Scott, you can't present the Monster Manual 1 chapter at a time in a 1-minute TikTok. I don't care what you have to do. We have got to break the rules. We have got to break the rules to get them attached, right? We've got to break our most sacred tenets. We've got to be willing to do the uncomfortable. We've got to be willing to do the unusual. We have to be willing to, take this in directions that really appall older generations, right? And we got to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. It's super important. If we're going to get young people to care about Dungeons and Dragons, we have to start breaking our old traditions. We have to make them comfortable no matter what the cost. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.